So I'm not going to make it a really big long lecture, but just a little talk about moving from winter into spring. I've been trying to bring some of the Ayurvedic concepts to all y'all. And you know, Ayurveda, there are 3 different doshas. And one of them is Kapha, and winter is Kapha heavy, right? And Kapha is that earth, water quality, and it's really heavy and dense and thick. And it's not, those aren't bad qualities. But when they're in excess, we end up unbalanced, and then they can cause, you know, repercussions, I'll say, in the body and in the mind that are not helpful. So when we move from winter, we've been eating that heavy, rich, sweet, oily food, and now hopefully in a healthy way. A lot of us don't. I know I've had plenty of times where I have not done it healthily, but in essence, that's seasonal eating, right? When we go into winter, we want to have those qualities in our food so that we can maintain oil and lubrication and fat in the cold season, etc. And so actually that is the way that we would naturally eat were we in nature, right? You see the squirrels and the bears and everybody, they're like stocking up and eating as much as they can in order to survive the winter. But then we start to move towards spring, and we start to move towards that warmer weather, and we want some of those lighter qualities, right? We want to start to move away from oil and sweet and the really heavy, dense foods. We want to start to have our foods be a lot lighter, and we want to, this is the antidote to letting go of that heaviness of winter, right? And so we're eating lighter foods. We start to see dandelion greens and spring greens coming up, right? Astringent and bitter are great flavors to start to bring into your diet in order to counterbalance what we just went through, right? And to help the body cleanse and detox and move forward in a lighter way. Super simplistic. But the other thing I want to add into that is that if you want more information, I'll put a link to Banyan Botanicals, a couple of their great articles on moving into spring, moving out of winter and into spring, and you can read up for more information. They've got all kinds of, like, you know, Vata pacifying diet, Kapha pacifying diet, these different things. So if this starts to really intrigue and interest you, they're a wealth of information. And I can talk about it, but I think they talk about it better than I do. And so I just want to tell you my own experience and the things that I kind of find and see and do. And then I'll give you those resources. One other thing that I want to say is I've been talking to a number of friends, and I know I have been on this cycle lately. The other thing that I see a lot of is as we move from that winter, that heavy, dense, kind of thick, lethargic, right? Some of us move into depression, those kinds of things. As we start to move from that winter energy and we move towards that spring energy, the other thing I see a lot of is stimulant depressant. And what I mean by that is because we kind of have that heavy, thicker energy and we're not really changing our diet or doing much about it, maybe we haven't been able to be active because we've been busy, we go for coffee and sugar, right? Caffeine and sugar. And so that's stimulant. So we have that in the morning to get us going, but then of course we start to crash, so we maybe have something again in the afternoon, and then, you know, we keep that kind of going through our day, and then at night we're all amped up, and now we need to take a depressant, some form of a depressant, in order to calm down because we have a hard time falling asleep at night. And so if you've been feeling that cycle in yourself, that is, I feel like you definitely see it at other points in time with people, but collectively, winter to spring, I see that like crazy because we're just so heavy from winter, and we're not changing our diet or getting active yet, or maybe we're starting to, but we're still not quite there. And so, right, so trying to find ways in how we are in our activity and in our diet, rather than moving to those really strong stimulants, those drugs in essence, right, in order to get our energy. And so I've been struggling with it too. I'm not saying I'm better than you and I have this figured out. This time of year, I like to stop and get chai lattes, or I find myself really craving a pastry or a cookie in the afternoon because I'm just so, right? I wake up kind of grumpy and groggy. And so this next breath, right? I'm going to put out a video that's the breath. I'm separating them so you don't have to listen to the lecture every time or try to find out where the breath work starts. But Bhastrika is the breath that I really, really love. It's one of, I think, the kind of quick pulse buttons we can do in order to try to get that energy that we might normally get through our caffeine or through our sugar. So, and is there a couple of painful days when you try to switch out of that cycle? Yep, you betcha. Yeah, I haven't met many people who don't struggle with that. If you're suddenly cutting yourself off from refined sugar or from caffeine, your body is addicted to it, and you go through DTs, right? It might not be the same as heroin, but you're still going through them. And so knowing that and giving yourself grace as you start to move away from that cycle, yeah, and being so kind and, as John O'Donohue says, excessively gentle with yourself. So I think that's all I'm going to say about it. Again, I'll put some other resources in there. Maybe I'll try to write another blog post somewhere that talks a little bit about it. But that's like just the quick gist of some of the things you might notice within your own system as we move from winter into spring. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. And I'll put up Bhastrika breath as well for you. Check it out. Try it out. You never know until you try. Some of these tools are going to work for you. Some of them won't work at all. And you take the ones that do, and hopefully maybe you're happier and healthier, more peaceful, more at ease, more harmonious, more balanced, etc. Whatever word you want to put on it. It definitely makes a difference in my world. Y'all know that by now. Okay. Love you. Namaste.